I structured the courage to continue to be a choose your own adventure. Depending if you're a policymaker, a business leader, there is a pillar that's pertinent to this debate for you. If you're someone who really wants to take the question in its totality, I invite you to read them all. So the first pillar of the book really examines the question of global regulation. And not only global, domestic as well. By different counts, there's anywhere from 600 to 2,400 pieces of legislation, standards, guidance documents that require businesses to do things on climate, on sustainability, on adaptation, and resilience. So even if policy sensitivity changes here in the United States, the world is moving forward, and big businesses, multinationals, will have to stay the course because of regulation. The question of stranded assets is one that's huge, yet it's not really getting captured in headlines right now because it's a noisy time. What are these stranded assets? For any business owner, for any corporate director with fiduciary responsibilities, they are used to thinking around 30, 50, 70-year time horizons to say, will I make my money back on an investment in a new and electric burner or a coal plant on my facility? When you think about it that way, and legislation that might come in and say, hey, you're not allowed to build coal plants anymore, but yet you're 5 years into your investment, what do? You may have a stranded asset on your hands. And this is to the tunes of billions, if not trillions of dollars globally. And it's not only for energy-related assets, but also in critical infrastructure that's not resilient for climate shocks. So I encourage everyone to have a debate around the stranding of assets that are pertinent to your business, whether they're carbon or climate related. Insurance, as we know it, is at a time, and this is not to be dramatic, but is a time of reckoning. Over the past 3 years, if you're a US homeowner, you've seen your median premium increase by 30%. If you're in Texas, that's 70%. If you're in Florida, that's 90%. And why is that? Climate shocks, environmental shocks, fires and floods primarily. And this is happening in our backyard. It's not just the California wildfires or coastal Florida. It's in Iowa, it's in Colorado, it's in Texas. So this is also pertinent to corporate real estate, who's facing the same type of premium hikes as the residential counterparts. So from that lens, insurance and insurability has been a basic assumption of our economy for a couple hundred years. And now we're not so sure about where that's going. So I invite business leaders, I invite policymakers to debate this topic. How are we going to insure our assets to secure our future? In every country in the world, right now there's litigation underway to create precedent saying polluters pay. If you have a manufacturing facility and you've been polluting into the air, let's say, okay, you might be held responsible for damages to local communities, to children, to future generations, which means you might have to pay into a super fund, legal fees, collective action lawsuits. And we're also seeing this happening not only globally, but here in the United States. New York, for instance, has created a climate super fund, saying energy companies that are responsible for the bulk of historic emissions, they must pay for climate damages. This is all new, it's happening in real time, and especially for policymakers and corporate leaders, they need to know their exposure. As we exist in a world where global supply chain and trade is evolving very rapidly, there's a fundamental question that's not being discussed. We see one hand, tariffs and geopolitics, rivalries between the US and China. That's one point of discussion. But what about the resilience of our supply chains, of critical infrastructure that's needed for commerce, whether it's bridges or highways that go from Louisiana to export energy to the rest of the country that's underwater 100 days a year? If we're not thinking how supply chain and critical infrastructure in our country is contributing to security and economic prosperity, we're not asking the right questions. Critical minerals. They're in the news every day, and for very good reason. Why? They're the backbone to our modern economy. They're the backbone to high-end manufacturing here in the United States, in Taiwan, and China. They're in phones, semiconductors, batteries, things that we need for the green transition. Yet right now, because of geopolitical tensions, we're not sure if businesses will have access to those things. Likewise, these critical minerals come from the earth, to be very simple. And as they do so, historically, there's been quite a number of issues around labor rights, child labor, environmental degradation. As we think about how to do this differently, we have a chance to think about how do we do this in a way that reflects American values. So I invite people in to discuss the question, the long-term strategy around critical minerals, so we can secure our commercial structure, large business supply chains, and secure our future. The question of AI, we see it, and it's emerged in a very grandiose and often very exciting way over the past several years. As we think about it in regards to environmental security, it's twofold. On the one hand, we have to be clear-eyed. Yes, electricity consumption has gone way up. Also water consumption. All the new data centers that have come online in the past couple of years use as much water as the city of Hong Kong. Significant. However, AI can be used to make the water efficiency much improved, the energy management much improved. Let's look at Google, for instance. In applying their own AI tools to the question of energy management, they saved 40% of total energy throughput. And they're looking to take and commercialize that type of solution to other data centers. So there's a lot of horsepower that AI can offer in major sustainability, environmental security questions. And I offer an array of examples that large businesses here in the United States are putting forward. Over the past 5 years, 10 years, the biggest companies on the planet have come forward with loud voices to say, we will make commitments. We will get to net zero, meaning we'll lower our carbon footprint. We will waste less. We'll use less water. We'll be good stewards in our communities. That was a rallying cry for many people to go into those organizations. Right now, as the policy upheaval is underway, and there's a different tenor around sustainability, employees are wondering, will my company stay the course on sustainability? Because I want it to. I expect it to. I offer analysis of this question, prompts for discussion as businesses look to engage their employees in a way that will meet the time, that will be fit for purpose, that will be engaging and hearing of their concerns and their questions as we all grapple with the question of environmental security. When I wrote this book, I was surprised. I was looking for feedback to say, am I on track with thinking about this question, staying the course on sustainability and linking it to national security? Behind the scenes for big businesses, I heard, Alex, this is great. Keep going. Even if I can't be out in front and be vocal about this, I see great value in this. Not only did I hear this anecdotally, but in my research, I saw this quantitatively. Big businesses, the top 10 in this country, even the Magnificent Seven, high tech, look to them. What are they doing? They are staying the course, even if they're not publicizing this. I offer examples from Meta, NVIDIA, Google, Mondelez, Coca-Cola, Ford, many of the biggest businesses, the biggest brands that we know, and they are continuing. And I offer this as a bright spot to say, these are major forces in the global economy. Compare NVIDIA's market cap, that's like the GDP of the UK. There's a lot of sway in what they do, and we should listen, and we should follow. And I offer that up. American values, the 10th and final pillar that I explore in the Choose Your Own Adventure, is perhaps my favorite. It was a genuine surprise and delight for me as I wrote this book to see there's so much more middle ground than perhaps we expected. When you look at polling from various sources, it's always in the high 90s, mid 90s around Americans that share values around conservation, American ingenuity. Even if Americans can't agree on what caused climate change, 92% of Americans agree we can fix it. To me, that gives me so much hope for what's possible if we're willing to commit to open, nonpartisan dialogue and find more ground in the middle.